Hello, welcome to all of you. An interesting video awaits you today. I would recommend watching till the end. Many moons ago, I had lunch with a bunch of people during a Say 7N rally. What's a Say 7N? It's a catch-all term for the Lotus 7 and cars that look like Lotus 7s, you know, Caterhams, Birkins, homebrewed kit builds, whatever. Seated at our table was a pleasant English gentleman who brought along his tiny, open-top sportster, and who let it slip out he was, in fact, a Lucas electronics engineer. You should have heard the jokes fly. Lucas holds the patent for the short circuit. If Lucas built guns, wars wouldn't start, and my favorite, the Lucas corporate motto, get home before dark. However, rather than having a sense of humor about our pretty gentle ribbing, the formerly good-natured engineer got upset. Legit pissed off. I forget the specifics of the conversation, but I came away shocked by how much pride the man had in his company. Fast forward 17 years, and I find myself putting rubber bands around my rings, and a sweatband over both my watch and belt buckle. I'm about to set foot into the revamped Lotus factory located in Hethel, England, after its Chinese parent company, Geely, it also owns Volvo, spent €100 million revamping the joint. Why all the padding? Lotus doesn't want anyone on the factory floor to wreck the paint of the new Emira while it's still being built. I've been to dozens of car factories over the course of my career, from a Ford Focus plant in Michigan to the Rolls-Royce facility on the grounds at Goodwood, and I've never seen such precautions taken. Of course, I've rarely seen such nice paint. Like everything else Lotus seems to be up to, all aspects of the company now appear genuine and sober. In my mind, at least, and in the minds of many others, I'm certain, this is a far cry from how things used to be. Lotus founder Colin Chapman's motto, simplify, then add lightness, sounds absolutely beautiful until you realize it was largely a glossy way of saying cost cut the crap out of everything. Take a look at an A-Class trailing arm suspension sometime if you don't believe me. I've never owned a Lotus, but I do remember Motor Trend's long-term Evora S from a decade ago that spent 3 months in the shop because its passenger airbag cover was busted. Lotus quietly took the car back. Even the recently in production Evora GT, a wonderful driver's car, had a homebrewed quality to it that was charming in a bubble yet not so palatable when parked next to a Porsche Cayman. I don't think cars like those previous Lotus models can be built in this modernized factory. There were several points along the assembly line where a car may be rejected for any number of reasons before it crosses into a different section of the factory for paint inspection and correction. Cool side note, the factory is an old World War II era US Air Force base. According to the man giving me the tour, that's not how it used to be. Furthermore, no cars were rejected. Read that sentence again. Back to my vast, Kim Jong-un-like experience of walking around car factories and looking at things, I saw machines, stations, and robots that reminded me of the Ferrari, Porsche, Bentley, and McLaren factories. I was impressed. Another reason I've long written off Lotus as a serious carmaker stems from the short-lived Dani Bahar era. To call it a roller coaster of a time is unfair, as roller coasters don't tend to crash at the end. The big one for me and most others were the 6 cars Lotus revealed at the 2010 Paris Auto Show, exactly 0 of which ever reached production. Bahar, as you might imagine, was fired not long after. The Lotus PR man and I discussed the miserable Bahar experience as we stepped into another old hangar, this one housing the I was sure it would never happen Evija production line. Correction, production line is a misnomer. The Evija is built much the same way as Pagani assembles its cars, on wheeled carts parked at stations. Turns out I was, as is often the case, totally wrong. Then I saw an Evija sans body panels, and my jaw hit the floor. Aside from production car factories, I've been lucky enough to tour several places where Formula One cars, and the parts that make up F1 cars, are built. Also, in general I spend an unusual amount of time looking at cars with their skins removed. I could not believe what I saw here. Instead of some vaporware nonsense, I was viewing the guts of a vehicle that looked like a $2 million electric hypercar. As in, I'd seen those sorts of carbon ceramic brake rotors before, when I was inside the Brembo factory's F1 parts building. Not only was I shocked, pardon the pun, the Emira is in fact happening, but imagine my total amazement as I watched technicians assembling production car number 1, owned by Mr. Geely himself, Chairman Eric Lee. Then I drove the new Emira. I have a full review coming, but suffice to say it's much more than just a revamped Evora GT. If I had to describe it in one word? Serious. It's a serious sports car from a serious company. Meaning, it's a serious effort at a seriously fun to drive car. I also got a look at the Elevator, Lotus' first ever SUV that also happens to be fully electric. I have some questions about the design, But there's no doubt in my mind the quality level is high enough to compete with the likes of the Tesla Model Y and Polestar 2. The best ever sales year in Lotus history wasn't quite 1,500 units. Geely wants the company to eventually hit 100,000 cars and SUVs combined per year. Before my visit to Hethel, I would have laughed at such numbers and dismissed them out of hand as a retread of the Bahar era. Now? Much like the man I mentioned up top, I'm not laughing. I'm taking Lotus damn seriously. Thanks for watching till the end. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave a comment. Your opinion is very important to us. Thank you.